I mean, that only happens in Mexico, you know. So needless to say, I am so very happy to be here. It's just your culture, your music. My God, it's and just seems like everything is about friendship, food, and fun. And that's what I love about it. So I'm just having the most amazing time here. And even in immigration, you know, people, when I came through immigration, it was like I came to my grandmother's house. Everybody was so nice. I mean, when I go back to America, I've been a citizen for 40 years. Every time I face an immigration officer there, I'm scared, you know? So it's just the whole nature of your country, your people. And then, of course, you young people. I have to make friends with you because I'm 70 years old. I've been doing this thing for 50 years. I graduated from Berkeley in 1969, 1970 actually. So, but I plan to be around another 50 years, you know, because I know the work that you do is going to give me the artificial body parts that I'm going to need so I can live another 50 years. And then, of course, if I have to go to a Katy Perry concert, I have to come to you. People my age don't even know who Katy Perry is, you know? So it's just an amazing pleasure to be here from a wide variety of angles. And I'm really here to celebrate you, your university, your culture, but more importantly, your whole country. It's absolutely amazing. So when you have to celebrate, you need fireworks. You need sparkles and you need lights, right? So I'm going to have a little bit of a costume change, if you don't mind. So here you go. All right. Yeah. All right. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this jacket. You know, I think every keynote speaker needs to have a jacket like this. Because you see, when you show up to speak and you wear a jacket like this, three things happen. All right? First of all, I can get up here and say anything I want because none of you are listening. You're focused on the jacket. Number two, you don't forget me. I can tell you, tomorrow night you go home, you're at dinner, you're going to say, I was at this conference. There was this guy, I don't know what his name was, but he had this jacket, right? There's my name, by the way. And then, 50 years from now, when you're all retired, with grandchildren, you're going to be looking back and talking to your child and say, there was this guy with the jacket. I don't know what happened to him, you know? But more importantly, you get invited everywhere. I have 27 events between now and summer where people want me to come speak because they have seen me somewhere with the jacket. And these are not engineers, high school teachers, women in finance that run Wall Street, yeah? Even Sophia, she says to me, you coming? I said, I'm coming. Don't forget the jacket. But anyway, I'm really happy to be here, needless to say. And I'm really here to talk about something that you may not learn any other place. But you see, it's And we'll talk a lot more about that. We'll talk a lot more about that. But before we do that, I just want to give a little bit of a background, because what bothers me so much, that everybody that we deal with is a human being, right? The people that love us are human beings. The people that maybe don't like us as much are human beings. Our bosses are human beings, our subordinates, our relatives. Everybody's a human being, right? We deal with them every day. Well, how come it is not, it's mandatory for us to learn how to read and to write and to learn mathematics and to learn all this coursework, but it's not mandatory for any of us to learn anything about human psychology? Why do people do the stupid things they do? We would actually understand it better if we had some human psychology. But more importantly, we would be able to deal with it ourselves better, so we may not feel as bad as we do when we run into somebody that is stupid. Right? We would understand it. So that's what I want to talk about. You see, everything that we feel is chemical. All right? When we're happy, we're chemical. It's a chemical reaction in your body. When we're sad, when we're productive, when we're empowered, when we feel wonderful, it's all chemistry. And if we learn how to control that chemistry, not only for ourselves, but control the chemistry in another person's brain, life will be amazing for you. You will not only feel amazing yourself, you will make everybody around you feel amazing. You will be popular. If you address your chemicals right, you would actually be rich. So I'm here to try to make you happy, popular, productive, and rich. And you're thinking, just make me rich, forget about the rest. I'll deal with the rest myself. Yeah? So we'll talk about that too. But before we do that, your language. I mean, I came here 35 years ago, and at that time I said, I am going to learn Spanish because your language is so sweet. It's just the way it sounds, the way it rolls off your tongue, you know. So I learned some words. Well, I learned donde, a few other, adios, I learned. I remember one day I had to go to the bathroom in the mall, in the supermarket, and I didn't know how to ask anybody where the bathroom was. I kept talking to people. Finally, somebody I thought understood. And then they sent me to the jewelry department. So, donde está el baño, I learned, just to be safe. But you see, the thing about language is first you learn a few words. Then you learn sentences, right? And then as you go along, you start to speak a little, but you're still thinking in your own language. You're translating all the time. The next level is you start thinking in that language, right? And then you do technical writing. And then if you get more advanced, you do poetry. That's the advanced level of learning. But the last level is when you have done the poetry and you start to sing the poetry. That's the highest level, right? So I started to learn from the lower level, and then I figured this is too difficult. So I'm going to go to the topmost level, and I'm going to see if I can sing. So I called up Jennifer Lopez, and then she said, yes, why don't you try this? So I thought maybe I'd start with that to tell you that I'm really trying to learn your language. Yo nunca pensé que pudiera querer con esta pasión que me quema la piel. Volar por tu cuerpo es el cielo tocar. quiero contigo llegar una noche más. Oh! Okay. Now that we got that out of the way, let me tell you why I think you guys are so wonderful. Not just because you're in Mexico, but your profession. Let's talk about that. Because, like I said, I'm here to make you rich. Okay, so I have to first tell you why you deserve to be rich. Okay? You know, I totally believe, and it's not a belief, it's actually a fact. Human beings, and this, when we talk about the human chemistry, it'll be very, very clear. Human beings are created for one fundamental reason. And that one fundamental reason is to make the life of another human being better. This is not religion. It's not magic or voodoo. It's not something that I have cooked up. This is the way you are built. It's part of your basic human constitution. And we'll talk more about that. But the beauty about an engineering profession is, whether it's structural engineering, civil engineering, any engineering, the beauty about an engineering profession is that you guys make life better for all of humanity on a daily basis. That's your work. I mean, look at what you do. Your retrofit work preserves the past. All of the new work that you do, whether it's a building design, whether it's an automobile design, whatever you do, electrical engineering, whatever, all your new design builds the future. But in Mexico, for instance, you guys are in the business of saving lives. I mean, you actually design buildings and bridges and other miscellaneous things, base isolators, whatever, mechanical, electric, you design them so that they stand. I mean, where your technology is used, and say a 8.0 or a 7.3 earthquake comes, no one dies. One person. That too from a heart attack because we're scared. Nothing to do about the earthquake. And of course, if your technology is not used, we know what happens. Hundreds of thousands of people die. That's the power of your technology. I mean, just imagine if there were no engineers, structural engineers, earthquake engineers, geotechnical, or whatever, civil engineers. If there were no engineers, and say an earthquake or not even an earthquake, say a windstorm came in Miami or New York, buildings would topple over. Bridges would crumble. I mean, even if people survived, they would starve because no food would get delivered. Right? People would be eating each other. You know that happens. We have stories about that. You think there would be peace? No. I mean, your contributions to peace are so amazing, but they are just taken for granted. People assume that because your profession is so amazing, we don't have to honor you. That's your job. As far as I'm concerned, every solitary one of you, because of your work, is deserving of the Nobel Peace Prize. But you're not even in the running. And we talk about that why. That, again, is along the lines of trying to make you rich and famous. So if we are so wonderful, answer me, why aren't we all billionaires? don't we rule the jungle? King and queen of the jungle. I mean, we have reasonable influence, but nothing in proportion to our contributions to humanity. And if we studied human psychology, some of these questions may actually get answered. Because there's a research report out there, which is not new. It's 100 years old. That was produced by the Carnegie Institute of Technology somewhere back in 1926. And you know what that report says? That report says that only 15% of your financial success, only 15% of your financial success is based upon your technical knowledge. The other 85% is based upon what they call human engineering. And you know what they mean by that? It's your ability to deal with people. It's your ability to lead people, to inspire them. It's your personality. And things that are related to interacting with people, public speaking, celebrating, having parties, lots of parties, making people happy. You know what bothers me? That we know the difference between wine and beer and champagne and Ripple. We know the difference between those. But very few of us know the difference between serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, or endorphins. These are the chemicals that are responsible for each and every feeling that you have. We don't even know their names in many cases, let alone how they operate on you. I mean, the incredible power of serotonin to elate you and to make you happy. The bonding power of oxytocin. These are things I want to talk about today. Let me see what I have here. Okay. Here. Let's do a test. Let me show you how serotonin works. What's your name? Gadi. How's that? Gadi. Here we go. My name's Ashraf. Here's an iPad for you. All right? For you, sir, 100, the smell of fresh money. $100 for you. Here, you can have some Katy Perry lipsticks. All right. Now look at this. Look how happy she is. Look how happy she is. Look how happy I am. All right? Right? But look at all of you. You're happy too. What are you happy for? You ain't got shit. Right? Okay. That's how serotonin works. You see, when you do something to make somebody happy or empower them, you don't have to give them anything. You can just say something nice. All right? And you see that response of the person getting happy because something nice happened. It makes me happy because I was the source of that happiness for her. But the beauty about it is, if there's a whole audience out there or a third person that is witnessing that interaction, they get happy also. It's all about serotonin. When she gets happy, she gets a serotonin rush. It's a brain chemical that's released in her brain that makes her smile, makes her blush, right? Yeah, look at her. It's never ending. She's going to be this way for quite a while. And 10 weeks from now, when she thinks back, she will have the same response. I won't be there, but she will have it, all right? When she gets a serotonin rush, I get a serotonin rush. When you guys witness us getting serotonin rushes, you get a serotonin rush. It's just the way human beings work. Because human beings are fundamentally created to make the life of another human being better. And everybody that witnesses that, they have this amazing feeling, wow, the reason I was created is actually being implemented. All right? And the thing is that people talk about happiness. You know, people say money doesn't buy happiness. Look at Elvis Presley. He had so much money. Look at Marilyn Monroe. She had so much. They give you these examples, okay? Well, I tell you money does buy happiness. And I tell you why. Money doesn't buy happiness if you accumulate money and you keep it in the bank, all right, and count it every day. That is not going to buy you happiness. Money buys you happiness, you know, and by the time I'm done with you, you learn all this stuff, and 5 years down the lane, all of you are going to be very, very rich. So I want to tell you, once you are rich and all your bills have gotten paid, and you have all these millions and billions of dollars sitting in the account, this is what I want you to do with it, all right? What surprises me that people have so much money, you know, like millions and billions of dollars, and they have it in the bank. And they count it every day, and they're unhappy. Money does nothing sitting in the bank. Once your basic bills are paid, you have driven the best car, you've had the dinner in the best restaurant, that doesn't cost that much. After that is done, this extra money that you have, you give it away. Try giving a $100 pack like that to a homeless person on the street. Just try it, okay? That person is going to jump out of his or her skin because it's not expected, and probably run down the street screaming, okay? And that person will probably remember you for quite a long time because very few have done that for her. But that is not the important thing. The important thing is that you will remember that person and the response for a very, very long, you'll remember it all your life. And every time you think about it, you will get a serotonin rush. And you will say, wow, I didn't do much, but for that one solitary moment, I changed the person's life. And you have thousands such events in your repertoire. Every time you think about even one of those thousands, you're going to have this feeling of elation. Believe me, you will be happy. Then the next drug that we talk about is oxytocin. Oxytocin is the friendship drug, okay? It's the feeling that you get when you hug somebody. You know that feeling you get? You're getting an oxytocin rush. You know how you hang out with your friend all day long? You go to the mall, you do nothing. You just sit in the mall and watch everybody walk by. Then you go home, you sit in your friend's room, talk, do nothing. And then at midnight you leave and you say, oh my God, I had the most incredible time ever. What? You did nothing. You did nothing. Well, you both are drunk with oxytocin. That friendship feeling, that feeling of warmth that they talk about. You know, oxytocin is the reason why when mothers give birth to a baby, they get an incredible big shot of oxytocin in their system. That is the reason why ugly babies get to go home. Some of these babies are ugly, you know it, right? I mean, they've been dunked in, you know, you stay in a swimming pool for 1 hour, see how your skin gets? That sucker's been dunked in water for 9 months. It's going to take him 7 years to come up to normal. But it gets to go home. Otherwise, like, no, this thing is too ugly, I'm not taking it home. But she's drunk with oxytocin. You know, when you're drunk, you do weird shit, right? So that's what she does, all right? So, but that's how it is. And then the oxytocin, like, why am I here? Why am I here? I mean, I could do this on a webinar. Yeah, put a big screen here. I could be sitting somewhere. You could be watching it at home, right? I could do that. But it's not the same. I mean, here I come, I talk to you, I get responses on your face, you know, I see you happy, I get serotonin rushes because you're happy, and, you know, I get to shake your hands, I hug you, I get oxytocin. You don't get that. I mean, when you're doing a webinar, you don't even know where the person is sitting. The person could be sitting in the toilet watching you, right? You have no idea. But that's, you see, that's the power of oxytocin. And these days we live in an oxytocin, serotonin deprived society, okay? This thing about what we do with communication, I mean, everything is done texting. You don't even talk on the phone anymore. People are sitting in the room next door in the office emailing each other. Oh, get the heck up and go talk to the person. And then they say nasty things on emails because you don't have to face the response. I mean, when I first came to America, this was 50, 60 years, you know, I grew up in Pakistan, right? Or in Pakistan, you never bought anything unless you bargained, okay? You would go to well, there was no mall. You go through the streets, and the street vendor is sitting there selling you something, and they want 100 rupees or $100 for it, and you say, no, I will give you 5. Or 2 even. Ridiculous. But then you would argue. You would have this human interaction, and finally settle on 6. That's how it worked, you see? But you always had this interaction with people all the time, you know? And technology, what technology has done these days, it's completely destroyed human interaction, and that's why loneliness is a malaise of our times. You know, people are alone. You don't have to be alone. You go out there, give people serotonin rushes. You know, people like you for only one reason. Okay, people like you for only one reason. And what is that reason? Is it my wonderful hat? My beautiful jacket? Or my Madonna boots? It's none of that. People love you for only one reason. And that one reason is how they feel about themselves when they are in your presence. If you can make a person feel like $1 million every time they are in your presence, believe me, they will come back to you again and again and again. I mean, I also constantly tell these young guys, you know, that go out on dates. They have this wonderful car, and then they go and they wear their Rolex watch, and they talk about themselves as to how amazing my job is, how much money I make. I just got back from Milan. All that stuff about themselves. That's not what you talk about. You have an interest in what is she doing? Talk to me about the research that you just conducted at Berkeley. You know, make her feel like she's the center of the universe, and she will come back to you again and again. You know, even if you had no car, she would bring her car to take you away. But that's the power of serotonin and oxytocin, which we have forgotten. I mean, Einstein said it years ago, that when technology overruns human interaction, we will have created a generation of morons. And that's what we're seeing. I hear it time and again and again. He doesn't do what I want him to do. I don't think he even listens. Things like that. I hear them again and again. And then, of course, there's dopamine. Now, oxytocin and serotonin, those are the social chemicals. Why are they called social chemicals? It's because you need two people to be involved. You can't generate oxytocin in your brain alone. Okay, no, it's not going to happen. You need somebody else to have the interaction with. Same thing with oxytocin. The love drug, that's what they call it. Well, you can love yourself, but it ain't going to give you oxytocin for sure. The third drug is dopamine. Dopamine is the productivity drug, all right? When you have dopamine in your system, it's the feeling that you get. Like, for instance, you've been looking for something on Google. You're Googling for 4 days, you've been Googling around, you can't find it. On the 5th day, you find it, and so, my God, I got it. See that got it thing? That's dopamine talking, all right? Like on Saturday, maybe you make a list of things that you have to do on the weekend, right? You've got to go to the grocery store, you've got to, mail your letter or write an email or do all these things that you have to do. And you drive all around town, going to the post office, going to whatever. And you have this list. And as you go to the post office, you tick mark it off. Every time you tick something off, you get that feeling, done. That's a shot of dopamine, all right? You walk by the laundry store, laundromat. You forgot to put that on your list. You walk by it and say, oh, I got to go in the laundry, pick up my clothes. So you go into the laundromat, pick up your clothes, and you come out, and you add it to your list, and you do a tick mark. Until you do the tick mark, you're not going to get your dopamine. And that's why people that are very successful, they have lists. They have lists of things. Every morning they come, first thing they do as soon as they get to the office, well, not even I make my list at 4 in the morning. When I wake up, I lie in bed and put my list on my iPhone. Or these are the 20 items I got to do before 9 o'clock. And then I go and I do them one after another. And the beauty about dopamine, all these, as we'll talk in a little while, all these drugs are addictive. It's like any other drug. You get addicted to them, and it has this downside. Like dopamine, once you've tick-marked 15 items, oh my God, I want another 15. That felt so good. You make another 15 and you go through them. Pretty soon you're the most productive person in the profession. When they say a person is so motivated, he does so much. He's not motivated. He's a drug addict. He's addicted to dopamine. That's what he is. You see, but that's what happens. But if you are aware of that, you can work it to your advantage. And dopamine is very, very addictive. Pretty soon you will be doing weird stuff to get your dopamine shot. You get a dopamine shot every time you check the value of your Apple stock. It's gone up 10%. Wow, I'm going to sell it. All right? And then you sell it, and it goes up more. You lose some money. Or you come and look at your stocks and you say, I'm going to sell this, I'm going to sell that. And then you go find something going up, you buy it. And then it goes down. You didn't even think. You were so addicted to the dopamine that you just do those things. But this is your human chemistry, you know. And then, of course, endorphins. That's one chemical which those of us that work out know that one, right? It's the runner's high. Okay, you run, you know. Pretty soon you're so addicted to it. You know, people run 26 miles every day because they're getting that, you know, that endorphins. It's actually nature's natural painkiller. That's what endorphins are. You know, it's, if you kept running, like, you know, people do the Boston Marathon, right? They'll run 26 miles, and they'll feel really good at the end, you know, because the endorphins are really high, and they don't feel any pain. But you've seen the people that after they have run, and now it's time to go home, they can't even walk down to the subway. They're walking backwards, because their legs are completely numb from pain because the endorphins have run out. Laughing, you know, when you laugh very hard, you see, that's your system is convulsing. Endorphins kick in, that's what makes laughing feel good. But after you've laughed a very long time, you know, it starts to hurt, right? You're like, oh, stop, you're killing me. Your endorphins have run out. See, it's all chemical. Everything that you feel good or feel bad, it's chemical. And if you are aware of that, next time you are down, all you have to do is decide which chemical you're going to use to make yourself feel good. You know, people that are happy are all drug addicts. They're high on your natural drug. It doesn't cost you anything. You can not only generate it for yourself, you can generate it for everybody around you. And pretty soon, you're the most popular person because people say, oh my God, every time I'm around that person, I mean, isn't he so amazing? No, he's not so amazing. You're the drug addict. You are drunk with serotonin and oxytocin, and he or she keeps feeding you that, and you don't even know it. But that's human chemistry. And you can see that I don't understand why this is not taught. And then there's this concept of belief, okay? I don't know, I mean, I love the work of Simon Sinek. Some of you may have heard of him, some of you may have not, but he's a business consultant that writes these books, and here's this concept that he writes about belief. I mean, why is it important to have beliefs? And not only to have them, but then to talk about them. For instance, let me give you an example. Do you really believe that your profession is God's gift to humanity? I mean, do you really believe that? I do. I'm a structural engineer, but I think the structural engineering profession is literally God's gift to humanity. I mean, look at everything that you see out there is standing because a structural engineer was involved. You can say that about something about every engineering profession. They have a similar story to talk about. I mean, every monument that's standing, that's a testament to the grandeur of mankind or womankind, is standing because an engineer was involved. So obviously, I mean, it has to be. I believe that. Now, I believe it. Now, why is it important for you to talk about what you believe? When you get out there and you talk about what you believe, what do? You attract other people that believe what you believe. It's like you walk down the street, you see a person wearing the same hat. What do? First thing, nice hat, man, right? You're in a foreign country, you know? You run into somebody speaking Spanish in the train. You turn around right away and say, "Ha, ¿cómo estás?" Right? First thing you do. And then that person tells you about a beautiful restaurant that you should go eat. If that happened in Mexico City, somebody came up to you and said, beautiful restaurant, go eat there, you would never go. You would say, hey, he's paying paid to say that. But if you ran into that person in a foreign country, you would immediately believe that and that evening go to the restaurant. Because the same thing, it's a belief system. Now, it even gets better than this. If you speak about what you believe in front of big crowds, and you speak it with passion, what does that do? It converts people that didn't believe what you believe into believing what you believe. Pretty soon you will have a cult. Yeah? And what does that mean? The beauty about people, when you're surrounded by people that believe what you believe, magical things happen. Because they will do exactly what you want them to do, not because you ask them, but because that's their belief. When you hire people, if you hire people just for the money, they'll do a good job, you're paying them. But the moment money runs out, they're out the door. But if you hire people that believe what you believe, they will put their blood, sweat, and tears into the work. And even when money runs out, they will continue to work because that's what they believe in. They have a mission. To them, money is not a destination. Money is a resource to arrive at higher destinations. But in order to be that, in order to do that, you need public speaking skills. All right? Now, how many of us here actually took a course in your 4 years at the university? Did you have a course in public speaking? I know you had nothing in human chemistry, so forget that. I'm not even going to ask that. It's so important. I mean, people look at me and say, it's easy for you. But I'm the kind of person that if there were two people sitting across the table and I was the one talking, I would have sweat running down my back. But that is so important to have. And especially in this day and age, the world, the way it is going, we need people like us to get out there and talk reality. And then, the concept of art. Why don't we teach? Why isn't learning about the arts a priority? The thing is that here, you go to college for 4 years, right? You essentially take the same courses from the same professor, And if you went to Catholic school the way I went to Catholic school, you even wear the same clothes, right? So when you leave the university, what makes you different than everybody else that's leaving the university? You've taken the same courses, same professors, same timing, same everything. What's so special about you? You see, the thing is that our brain has two sides. It's got the left brain and the right brain. The left brain is your logical brain. That's all your engineering and all that stuff. The right brain is your artistic side. What the right brain does, if you develop it, which in many cases we don't, if you develop it, it allows you to add your own color to everything that you do. It's the thing that makes you different. And art, and that's your artistic side. And art doesn't mean you have to be an opera singer or you have to be a famous painter. No, art is everything that you do. It's the way you wear your hair or no hair. You know, the way you wear your boots, your makeup, your hair. I already said the hair. Whatever, everything that you do, that's personal. That is your artistic side. And it's the thing that makes you different. When you're different, you're interesting. When you're interesting, people like you. When people like you, they do as they are told. When they do as they are told, you get what you want. So it's not rocket science for you to be able to get what you want. You just have to have a little more. I mean, like, for instance, why are Apple products so popular? Because they are a combination of amazing technology wrapped up in beautiful art. Technology is what makes things work. Art is what makes things beautiful. And beauty attracts. I mean, when you, I think it's in Steve Jobs' book, when you put your life on the crossroads of art and technology, your life becomes magical. That's why it's so important, and we don't have anything in our 4-year program that talks anything about art. So public speaking, art. And then to live out of your comfort zone. I think the problem with engineers is that they don't want to do anything different. I can tell them all this stuff that I could be the wisest man in the world and tell you everything that I know. But if you are not willing to learn it, it's sensational. You will not learn it. And to learn anything new, you have to step out of your comfort zone. If you are comfortable, like somebody says, it scares me to get in front of an audience. Well, good. Scare yourself and see what magical things happen. You know, they say, the biggest tragedy in life is not death. The biggest tragedy in life to arrive at the end of your life and all of a sudden realize how you missed all the opportunities that knocked on your door, but you did not open the door because you were afraid. And you will think back about that. And then to party. That's what I like. I mean, see, you know, that's one of the things I like about Mexico. There's always a reason to have a party. You don't even have to have a reason. The reason to have a party is just the reason to have a party. You don't need anything more. But it's not like that. You know, like, okay, let me ask you this. How many of you have heard of Bill Gates? Bill Gates, come on. Everybody, right? Everybody. Look at that, everybody. How many heard of Steve Jobs? Come on, everybody. Okay. How many of you have heard of Ray Clough? 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Okay, okay. Now that's pathetic. I tell you why that's pathetic. Because Ray Clough was the founder of the finite element method. You know what the finite element method is? The finite element method is that design technology that was used to design the airplane that I flew in yesterday. It's for design of the car that we drove here this morning. Huh? It's a design of the lunar module that took man to space and brought him back. The blender blade that was used this morning to create your Frappuccino at Starbucks. Artificial limbs, dentures. You name it, it was used. Ray Clough was a structural engineer at the University of California, Berkeley. And from my perspective, his contributions to humanity are far more than those of Bill Gates and Steve Jobs combined. but we don't even know who he is. And he's one of us. He's an engineer. Why? Because we don't celebrate. We don't celebrate our heroes. We need more parties. We need people to know who we are. And when we do our conventions, we go to a convention, they're all engineers. We pat each other on the back and go home, tell each other how wonderful we are. And nobody outside knows anything. And what really pisses me off, I'll tell you what pisses me off. What pisses me off is when an earthquake comes, all right, and people run into earthquake zones to take pictures, all right, engineers. They take pictures of every piece of busted concrete. If they walk by a beautiful building that had no damage, they just walk right by it. That building was the testimony to the grandeur of your technology. How come you're walking right by it? And then they do all these seminars in which they have pictures of every piece of busted concrete and bent steel that they could find. Nothing about the incredible successes, which were 99.9% of the buildings. And those are the pictures then they show up in the newspapers. You know, I don't know if you know this thing, but I'm sure you do. There's this big building in Mexico City known as Torre Mayor. Yeah, it's a 70-story building. Okay. It's in the same area where in 1985 you had a big earthquake. And everything basically got demolished, right? It was a 7-point-some earthquake, I think. All right. The same earthquake, then that building was built. It was built with newer technology, interstory dampers, you know, isolators and stuff like that. Damping devices, interstory dampers. And the same earthquake happened in 2002. You know, in that building, people, not only was there zero damage, people that were on the upper floors of that building didn't even know that an earthquake came. That's your technology. Why don't we talk about that? That should be front page news everywhere to show how incredible. I mean, the same area when buildings fell, it was big news. I mean, I didn't know about that, and I'm in the business. I had to read it up on Wikipedia. And then we wonder why we don't make enough money. Along the same lines, we all know about the Intel logo, right? Every computer has an Intel inside logo, right? Now, of course, most of you are too young to know when the Intel computers actually started, you know, in the early 80s. And IBM used to use Intel processors. But nobody knew about it because IBM wasn't carrying anything. They would buy the Intel processors from Intel, put them in the IBM computers and just sell them. It was an IBM computer. Nobody knew anything about Intel. So one day, Andy Grove, the then president of Intel, went to IBM and said that our processors are the reason why your computers work, right? So what I want now is that I want you to put a logo on the outside of every computer that says Intel inside, so that people know it's the Intel processor that's making your computers work. And if you're not going to do that, I'm not selling you any more microprocessors. Well, IBM had no choice, okay? So they did. Every computer that went out from that time onwards had this logo that says Intel inside. And now we all know what the Intel inside logo means, right? It's on every computer, widely recognized, and we all know about it. The same thing with engineering, you know? I'm a structural engineer, and when I see things going on in the structural engineering profession, which I don't like, it really pisses me off, you know? I contend that all structural engineers need to get together, and whenever a building is designed, they need to basically go out to the owner and say, we're not doing any of your engineering unless you put a big logo outside the building that says structural engineering inside. Because it's because of the structural engineering your building actually even stands, you know. But we have to work together on that, you know. I say that, you know, if all of us engineers got together and said, we're not doing any work until, you know, they will pay you 100 times more because they have no place to go. Where is anybody going to go? If structural engineers or mechanical engineers or electrical engineers, whatever, decide, but we don't do that. We're not organized enough. We don't even have, we basically settle for whatever money is thrown our way. And it's sad. I mean, we make good money. It's not that it's bad, but I just think it's in no way reflective of the contributions that the engineering profession has to humanity. How are we doing on time? Let's see, because I want to have a few questions. Oh, have I been talking an hour already? Okay, so anyway, I really want to take a few questions. I want to kind of have a little bit of interaction here, get some oxytocin going, eh? So again, I'm going to end right now basically to tell you that, you know, it's needless to say, the most amazing experience whenever I come to Mexico. It's a pleasure from the moment I land to the moment I take off. And in between, it's just the fun and the warmth and the affection that you guys shower on me. It's, I just want you to know it doesn't go unnoticed. And that's why I want to come back again and again. Well, thank you so much.
A continuación tendremos algunas preguntas, entonces les pediría que si alguien está interesado levante la mano para que le acerquen un micrófono.
English or Spanish?
Spanish.
Okay.
Yes. Sí, sí lo escucho. Está bien, gracias. Estoy hablando aquí. Sí. Bien, entonces, Hardy Cross. Mr. Hardy Cross, él tenía en su despacho, bueno, cuando él escribió su libro de Los ingenieros y las torres de marfil, nos comunicaba que en su despacho, alrededor de todos sus libros, tenía en el centro de su biblioteca de ingeniería la Biblia. Y él decía que para él todo su trabajo le encontraba un sentido con el ingeniero perfecto que es Dios. Él fue ingeniero de los años 20, usted lo recordará. Me gustaría preguntarle a usted cuál es su visión de Dios y cómo combina su profesión con la visión de Dios.
Well, I think all religions, and like I said, that we are created, and you can talk about it being created in the image of God or a wide variety of different ways, but fundamentally, humanity has been created to serve other people. Now, we can look at that as religion if we wish to, and it's when people ask me what my religion is, you see, my religion is the same as it is for all of humanity. Every religion teaches us to be nice to other people. No religion teaches us to be dishonest. No religion teaches us not to be kind to the poor. I think these are basic values that I think somehow have gotten lost. And I just think that if we just basically focused on what every religion teaches, it would be such a better place rather than focusing on the things that keep people different, That's my belief on that. And I don't know if that answers your question or not, but any other question? Oh, English or Spanish?
It'll be in English.
Oh, okay.
When was it that you first thought of the idea of learning about human engineering?
Well,
you mentioned that most universities, if not all, never teach any courses in public speaking, and of course never teach about the four chemicals in our brains.
yeah.
I can also tell you that I remember being in college and I wasn't at all interested in psychology or anything other than engineering. Right?
Yeah, I know, because somehow the word psychology has a bad connotation to it. The moment you say the word psychology, people start going, ooh, It's like it's something that's not normal, And yes, you see, the thing is that most people have these chemicals generated naturally, okay? But there are some people that have deficiency of these chemicals that their system doesn't create them. So those people need help. They need, medication to help them generate these chemicals. But to see the level of depression that there is all across the world these days, they say that only 20% of the people in the United States are actually happy. And you can see that because you go, I started to question myself when I would start seeing that people are spending all of their life waiting for the weekend. I mean, waiting for the weekend to have a good time. And then Sunday night they would be depressed because now they have to go to work. And I got most of my work done on the weekend, because the phone wouldn't ring. And Monday I would be excited to go to work, and even to this day, I have no difference between my fun and my work. Now, maybe I'm one of the lucky ones, and that's why I have no intention to retire, because I'm basically doing everything I would do if I retired. So this kind of started to occur to me while I was working. I would go as a consultant. I remember going in the elevator one day, and they were talking about, it was a Wednesday, and they were saying, oh my God, I'm so glad it is hump day. And I'm like, what is hump day? Am I missing something? Is it a celebration? Well, hump day is like, Wednesday is the top, you climb Monday, Tuesday, you now are at the top of middle of the week, then you slide into the weekend, So it's the weekend is getting closer. But people had that attitude. And I'm thinking, if you spend 5 days of your life waiting for the 2 days, you have wasted so much. I mean, you only have one life. If you don't like what you're doing, you need to change. Because, it surprises me very often when people say, I don't know what my passion is. I have to look for my passion, or I have to find myself. Yeah, they say that. You see, I wanted to be a rock star. When I was in college, I wanted to come to America to put Elvis Presley out of business and run away with Mary Tyler Moore. When that didn't happen, I took my father's advice and then I went to Berkeley. But you see the point I'm trying to make, and I made the very right decision. You don't try to find your passion. You try everything. You try everything. And what you will find, that the passion will find you. All of a sudden, you will be successful at something, and believe me, success breeds passion, okay? So that's why I think, you know, this thing about, I found structural engineering, and then I found it to be one of the most amazing professions as to what it does for humanity. And then, you know, I got into software development, and the rest is history. But to answer your question directly is that, you know, it's something that grew on me slowly as I observed people around me that were so unhappy for no apparent reason, you know. You know, it's your life. You can control it. And if you're not doing what you want to do, or it's boring, you have to, again, step out of your comfort zone. I mean, when I started CSI, this was before Microsoft. Everybody was telling me nobody develops software. Professors develop software on campus and they give it away for free. You are going to starve on the streets. But I still wanted to try it. I said, you know, I can always get my old job back, you know. And one thing led to another and things worked out, you know. Any other questions? Yes. Spanish or English?
English.
Okay.
Hi.
I shouldn't say,
First,
oh, good. I mean, yeah.
Well, thank you for the conference. A couple of years ago, I was actually at the 41st CSI annual party in the Bay
you all
Area.
should come to the annual party.
I sent an email and asked for an invitation, and they said, okay. So I went.
What did you think about it?
It was really good, really fun. But the thing that I would like to ask is, the speech you gave, you mentioned something about happiness hours. You were multiplying the number of people, the number of people in the city hall, by the time the party lasted. So that stuck in my mind. And
go ahead.
Us as structural engineers now, how can we do like small things within our office with our colleagues? I don't know if you have any advice on how to try to give, probably not happiness hours, but maybe happiness minutes.
Let me just put in perspective what he's talking about. You see, we do this party every year, which is kind of a celebration of engineering, of our profession, and I follow the same things that I'm telling you here. We invite everybody from outside the profession. There's only probably 40 to 50% engineering professionals. The rest are outsiders, you know, lawyers, accountants, ballet dancers, artists, all of these people that are non-engineers, because we want them to know that engineers know how to party also, because people think that engineers are nerds, you know, and they're just boring, you know. So one lady wrote me this incredible letter, because the party is amazing. You guys have to try and come there to experience it. But it lasts 7 hours, 5 to midnight, all right? And everybody is happy, everybody's smiling. For those of us that, you can go see the party we have a YouTube video every year. Just go to YouTube, Google my name, and all of our parties will come up and just look at it. But everybody is smiling and laughing for 7 hours. So this one wonderful lady wrote me this letter saying that, because she said, you know, your party is wonderful, but I just have to tell you that your party, you have 1,500 people there, and they're there for 7 hours. So 1,500 times 7 is 10,500. So you created 10,500 person hours of smiles, you know. And to me, that is the one fundamental reason why we can never stop doing this party. Because you know how long it takes to create 1 minute of smiles? You know, people go to the doctors, to the shrinks, to the psychologists to make them smile for just 1 minute, and where we have 10,500 hours, you know. After I made that comment at that party, a lady wrote me another letter. She says, it was 3 weeks since I came to that party. I'm still smiling. So that engineer had the calculation wrong. It literally is in hundreds of thousands. So, but to answer your question, is that small things, like I said, activate serotonin in somebody's brain. You know, just something nice to be said. Go into the office and everybody, we're doing incredible work every day. You know what your colleagues are doing. Go into their office and say, hey man, that beam design was amazing. How do you think about that? Make it up even. You know, what we have a tendency to do, you know, like at CSI, I have people that have been working with me 10, 15, 25, 35, 45 years. Anybody that comes to work at CSI never leaves. In fact, one person that we hired as our marketing director, she said, I'm retiring from here. I'm going to be here till I'm 70, never leaving. She had only been there 6 months, you know. But you see, because she's already drunk with oxytocin and serotonin, you know, all you have to do is to, when they do nice things, great work, and people in the office are always doing great work. Everybody, you know, everybody is doing great work, you know. That's what role models are about. How many of you in this audience are my role models? Some of these engineers that I've known for years. Because you steal from everybody. Everybody has something to offer, you know. Michael Jackson gave me this. Madonna gave me my boots. Frank Sinatra gave me my hat. But you see, that's what professors do. Professors are stealing from everybody. And they create a report and give you a list of all the people they stole from at the end of the report, called the bibliography. Right? You steal from 1,000 people, you become a hero. And it becomes part of your system, your conglomerate. You steal from one person, you go to jail. Then you're a plagiarist, you know. So that's why they've already made it legal for you. Everybody that does something nice, just go up to them, say, man, you were amazing. And you say that to 100 people, all those 100 people will return the favor. You will have 100 people saying nice things about you on the streets. It's not rocket science. It's simple. So to answer your question, you know, if all of us just started to do one thing that was nice, we would be all drunk with the serotonin before we know it. Any other question? This is amazing. Love this interaction. And this I can't do on WebEx. See why?
Thank you very much, Mr. Ashraf.
Thank you so
We
much.
deeply appreciate for honoring us with his valuable presence. We know it is difficult to make room in the agenda for a visit like the one you have done today, but we're undoubtedly grateful for such an enriching conference. Thank you very much. Ahora haremos entrega. Haremos entrega de un reconocimiento a nombre del comité organizador. Les pido a mi compañero que haga entrega. Nuevamente, muchas gracias.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Just what I need. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Nuevamente le damos un aplauso a Mr. Ashraf por su presencia. A continuación, para nuestros alumni y alumnos de Ingeniería Civil que nos visitan, tendremos un brindis de celebración por los 25 años de nuestra carrera. por lo que les voy a pedir que pasemos a la terraza que se encuentra en el nivel superior de este edificio. Así concluimos de esta forma con el segundo día de conferencias. El día de mañana empezaremos en punto de las 10 con la conferencia de Emprendimiento Social, Modelos de Negocio, impartida por el doctor Francesco Piasesi. Muchas gracias, que tengan buena noche.